People, people deluded. I'm back again. Now, what was I gonna say? Obviously, I hope you're all enjoying yourselves on this Monday bank holiday. But Akpom's a league winner. In fact, I believe Chuba Akpom is now technically an invincible. He joins the same class as anyone that was playing when we won the title. Obviously, he's the same age as me, and he is an Arsenal fan, so he grew up on Thierry Henry, Vieira, and things like that. And he's joined the same class as them. He's an invincible. Admittedly, it's not quite how he probably would have wanted to do it or emulate his heroes, but at his team, I cannot say their name. You know the Greek side he's joined. Well, he joined last summer. They've becoming they've won the league and done the invincible thing, and it's a great achievement for him, man. And I mean, first and foremost, I know when people firstly look at it, they'll look at Chuba Akpom, someone that people said can go on to do things at Arsenal or at a relatively high level, and people will look at him playing in Greece, looking at that potential from Arsenal to playing in Greece and think, what's going on here? He must be a failed wonder kid or whatever. And they're entitled to believe what they want. Football's filled with many twists and turns. It's difficult to make it at any club, especially if you're an attacker. And if I'm honest to Akpom, his record at his career level in terms of his career appearances to goals in terms of playing as a proper professional footballer isn't as good as how it was at youth level. And to be honest, if clubs are looking at that or were looking at that and saying, okay, he played for Arsenal, his goal record isn't the best, I know he's still developing, is there money for a more prolific striker? If clubs didn't, if there weren't really much interest in him in England, then fair enough, to be fair with you. Or maybe he deemed himself, I don't want to go to the Championship, or I doubt he would reject Premier League, but just want to stay in England at some level, and he probably saw this as an opportunity to experience a different way of life. And I think it's exactly that. When he looks back as a professional, at the end of his career as a professional footballer, he's had some fantastic times. He's had a world-class education at Arsenal. He lived in Greece. He's played for a team that is heavily followed in Greece. It's a religion. It's similar to Italians and just about anywhere in Europe. It's a religion. People stopping him in the streets. People just doing mad stuff. Go and look at anything Akpom said. And if you're Greek, and I know a lot of Greek people watch my stuff, I know you know exactly what I'm speaking about. So he literally, football is life and death for them supporters, and not just them. You've got Olympiacos, he's in a competitive league. So to be in a competitive league, to win titles, to be playing in front of 60,000 fans, and it might not be 60,000, but full pack stadiums, people, flares going off, pure madness going on. You can't buy that. For me, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't, if I was Akpom, and I wouldn't have wanted my career to have ever been here, because I wanted to have played for Arsenal. But it's definitely better than it could have been. For me, he's gonna, when he's on his deathbed, I know it's a long way away, and God bless, he's gonna look back at times like this, man. He's had a great time. He's technically, I swear, he's playing in the Champions League, or was. So he's technically playing in a team competing in Europe. He's playing in in a relatively competitive league compared to Greece, in relation to Greece. He's won a league title. Like I said, he's playing under some heavy expectations, because not just him, the rest of the squad. Them guys, they will smash up your car if you don't play on form. So football is life and death, and to be fair, dealing and coping with them sort of pressures and social pressures and them things there, when he does eventually leave his side in Greece, because let's be honest, he won't be there for the end of his career, them things he's learned, and on top of that, adapting in another country, these sort of things will stand him in good stead, because he's still a young man. He can still come back to the Premier League and do his thing and whatnot. So I'm happy to see him, man. And in regards to his goal record, I must admit, people, I'm not sitting here and watching Greek League, so I don't know what Akpom's on in that regards, people. But I like to hear it. You lot know I'm a big fan of our youth players, and I like to follow them. I like to see what Daniel Marlin's doing and that. And I mean, what, Akpom's 23 years of age. He's 23 years of age. He's won the Greek title. He's won the Greek title, people. So he's still got a long time. I know it's people think he's a forgotten wonder kid and whatnot, but 23 years of age, how old is that really and truly? He's nowhere near his peak. He's contracted until 2021. Whether they give him a new deal is for another story, but that's what, 2 years. He'll probably have to sort out his summer this year, or definitely next year, so he can stay there for a year, and a move can happen, whether that's to another country or that's a return to the homeland where he grew up and was born. Is another case. But in 19 appearances, he's got 5 goals and 4 assists. Again, not the most prolific, and doesn't really fill you with any confidence if you're a team possibly looking at him. I know he's got a lot of work rate, and he might have developed a lot of other strengths that he could implement to good effect for potential buyers and stuff like that. But the one thing that's really stopped Akpom, and he's still got to learn, is actually, ironically, to score goals at senior level. Now, he's not always playing through the middle, or wasn't always, but he's still developing. He's prolific at academy level, but if you just look at Arsenal, for the under-23s in 50 games, he had 33 appearances. 33 goals and 5 assists in 50. So that's a very good record, and I'm sure if we go below that under 18s, because he used to score goals for fun, it's even more. But if you look at his whole days, now again, he was younger at the time, and he wasn't necessarily playing through the middle, and he wasn't necessarily playing 90 minutes, so we've got to keep that context. But 41 appearances, 7 goals, 1 assist. If you look at the under-23s, to the whole example I've just given you, you can see the correlation. At his current team, in 30 appearances, 6 goals, 5 assists, which is quite different from what he's actually said up here, which was 5 goals, 4 assists. Oh, in all comps is 6 and 5, and he's played 30 times. So, alright, cool, fair enough. I got that wrong. In the Championship, he only found the back of the net 3 times in 52 appearances. At Premier League 2, which is the under-23s now, 40 appearances, 23 goals and 5 assists. This is not just him, but you're looking at Eddie Nketiah soon. You're looking at any Mason Greenwood to a degree. He can play in a bunch of positions, so it's a bit different. But these sort of strikers that are bagging goals for fun at this level, the next step is replicating it at the top. Because not anyone can score all of these goals, but typically all of these hot shot strikers that you see scoring a lot of goals, it's very difficult to implement it. A lot of players that you see that are physical monsters and got a lot of technical ability, when they go into the same way, when you see them go into the senior level, it's a bit of a struggle. If you look at, I used to love J. Emmanuel Thomas. He was one of the, when I told you I used to skip school and go watch the youngsters. J. Emmanuel Thomas had everything, in my opinion. Baller with his feet. He had the technical ability of a 5'6" Spaniard that's come out of Barcelona's academy with the physique to match. He could bully you with his tricks. He could bully you physically. When he possibly, and I know injuries and rumours of not being professional, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know. But when it came to the first team level, from what I saw, I don't think he necessarily relied on physically imposing himself, but definitely some of the physical stuff he could do at youth level. He can't do it against grown men, which at the time he's 19. They're grown men in 25, 30 years of age. They'll stiff you up. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a big skill trying to implement it and get to the next level, because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at Eddie Nketiah right now, because I believe he will score goals and somewhere, whether it's at Arsenal or elsewhere. I believe he will score goals, but the next step is for him to do it at first team level. And already you see Akpom is still developing, same way Eddie is, but you see a sort of thingy from what's the word, man? A diversion from the goals and the appearances at youth level to the goals and appearances at senior level. They're meant to correlate, but right now they probably go like that. In the short time he's been at Arsenal in regards to the first team picture, what you want is to marry them like that. It don't always happen, but it is what it is. And I wanted to provide a quick word on Josh Dasilva, man. You lot know I like him a lot. He played quite well for Brentford, in the 1-1 draw against Millwall. 20 years of age, 21 in October. Obviously, he left last summer to join Brentford, and he's taking his time there. He's had some injuries, and he's slowly got over them, and he was initially in the B team, but he's making inroads in regards to their first team now, and he's made 14 appearances in the Championship, 4 in the FA Cup, so 18 in total. He's got 1 assist. Now, Josh Dasilva, if you remember him, he's played left back, he's played centre half at Arsenal, he's played central mid, he's actually played up front as well, and he's a very skillful player, to be fair with you. I think his thing is more of a central midfield of some sort, or a midfielder, centrally based, regardless, whatever type he develops is on him, but I think that's him. I think he was lovely at set pieces. He had good technical ability. He was fairly strong as well. Disappointed to let him go, but I respect it. There was a lot of competition. Does he think he's going to get chances? Clearly not. So why would you not keep it moving and go somewhere where you have more of a chance of reaching first team? I'd like to see more young players do this, not just at Arsenal but elsewhere, because if it doesn't work out for Josh Dasilva at Brentford, at least he can look back and say, okay, at least I put my future into my own hands, versus if he stayed at Arsenal, would have probably, I'll back Emery to use him and stuff, but he probably would have been primarily with the under-23s, might been signed a new deal in the next year or two or whatever. He's not given any opportunities, and he finds himself at a crossroads, and then he thinks to himself, what if I just stayed? I mean, what if I left when it came cooling? So I like to see it, man. I like to see the different experiences the players are doing, man, whether they're staying here or they're going abroad. Like obviously Willock, Akpom, Marlon went back to his homeland and is making great progress with his side. I'm liking what I'm seeing from everybody, man. Love to see Flex make his debut at Celtic, but I'm not paying attention to him like that, so I don't know in regards to his progress. But yeah, it's nice to see that he's starting to assert himself. The fans like him. From what I hear about the fans, obviously, that are watching Josh week in, week out, they're impressed with him. He's still got a lot of youthful exuberance to kind of get out of his game, and he's still got to polish a few edges. Been underwhelming in a couple games, but what do you expect from someone who's only 20 and has hardly played professional football? You look at his career appearances, it's what I just said, 14 for Brentford, so that's his career appearances. Obviously, it's not 14. I'm sure he came off the bench at Arsenal, or was on the bench. If he came off the bench, then it's about 15, 16. Either way, it's nowhere near 100. And for me, for these young players, like Josh or wherever, the key is to get to 100 senior professional appearances, because so much can go down in your career until you get that. I believe that's when you're truly a professional footballer, because you've got a solid CV. From 100 games, there should be a medium level of consistency within your play. But that's just me, innit, people? And on that note, I've got nothing more to say. So big up Josh Dasilva, big up Tuba Akpom, and big up anyone else doing their thing, man. But for now, I'm going to keep it moving. People, deluded.